Donde
está mis pantalones?
Some great crescendos and decrescendos there.
Thank you. Not as good as you, Braxton.
I only wish I could live up to what you do, Pete.
Yeah, that's what I always think about you in relationship to me. For the last 20 minutes, you have been singing about where your pants are.
I found them.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Oh,
Donde?
You want to try and harmonize?
No.
Not the
It's
donde.
already stuck in my head.
Está mis pantalones? Donde? Oh. Now I just look like an ass. You left me hanging. It's like when you wave at someone or you try to high five and you go, oh,
You
no.
racist fuck.
Not you.
Gosh,
Why?
sorry.
What's the racist part for? Just because I was singing in Spanish?
Yeah.
You know, racists love to harmonize.
That's all they do.
That's all they do. That's all they do.
They're singing in barbershop quartets like it's nobody's fucking business.
What is this, the 50s?
This is Chris Hansen.
This is TJ Hushmanzada.
Chad doing Rip City Radio here.
This is Jamie Hudson.
And I need to let y'all know something. You're listening to.
You're listening to.
And you're listening to
It just makes
This just makes sense.
It Just Makes Sense.
Woo! Way better than Chris
Yeah,
Hansen.
seriously. I want to get involved in the rigging of Fat Bear Week.
In relationship to Fallout Boy.
Oh, Fallout Boy. People are.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh, we got it.
Cut that.
Like, someone should hire you to be a protester. 4 bills dead weight. They're not getting you off that
They
court.
look at me and I'm like, I fucking dare you.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
dare you.
I mean, like,
Tractor, there's nothing that can.
They gotta be forklift certified.
Oh, I can't be a Cowboys fan because of this moral high ground that you are on. Bite me. Eat me.
Bite me. Eat me. I mean, gosh.
I'm so sorry to everyone that we just did that to.
Everything I just said before that, I just made that shit up.
Small enough and dumb enough.
Small enough, dumb enough. That's what we want.
That is It Just Makes Sense. That's how they would masquerade it, is that they were just underground.
All those a cappella groups. Damn.
People were so worried about other people in garb. It was just the barbershop quartet people the whole time.
It was. We should have known.
Welcome back, Braxton.
Hey, thanks, man.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Peter?
Welcome back. That was so bad.
You haven't heard the
know where-
bass song.
Oh,
I didn't know where I was going.
Welcome back.
I'm glad that you showed back up for our Dirty 30 episode. Season 3, episode Dirty.
What's this total? Like 150?
No. Who knows at this point?
Like 120.
We're at
probably.
100 in like November, so
Yeah, 120.
Was the live show season 3?
yeah.
Yeah, it was like one of our
Earlier.
That was
first 10.
November.
first 10 episodes.
That was. And then we like messed around, took a bit of a hiatus when we don't usually take hiatus. Hiati.
Keep going.
Hey, hiatuses. I'm not okay.
So
Hiatuses.
Hiatuses? Really?
No. I don't know.
Damn it.
Cacti.
Yeah, there it is.
Plural
So what are we in the 120s?
I think.
of hiatus.
120.
Hiatuses.
Hiatus.
Hiatuses.
Hiatuses.
Yeah. But here we are.
Yeah.
Still chugging.
So you were off for a couple of weeks because you went to Utah. You sat
Yeah.
courtside at a Utah Jazz game.
Yeah, that was awesome.
You saw the Joker?
Yep, they were playing the Nuggets, And the Nuggets played all their starters for most of the game. It was actually pretty cool. And the Jazz won, didn't play any of their starters, which was awesome. But I think if anybody's experienced the courtside experience, I think basketball has got to be one of the best sports to do it.
They're so
Courtside,
fast.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, because you're never going to get that close when it comes to
Like NFL.
unless
Yeah.
like you're a media member or whatever.
Absolutely.
The fact that you could just hear everything.
Exactly. So being able to like hearing the players communicate, hearing the coaches communicate with the players, like, and also just seeing them, how massive these guys are. Not just only in height, but they're just all so broad. They are, all these players are just wide as a door, it seems.
So no one jumped into the stands
No.
while you were there. But did you get like a nice butt to the face on an inbound?
We did.
Any
We got
butt-
one of those. We
any
got a
butt
butt to the
inbound?
face.
Whose butt?
I don't recall. It was some Jazz player that I never
Must
heard
not
of.
have been a good butt.
Not a great butt.
So a butt to the face, but not a good butt.
No, not a great butt. But it was a wonderful experience. You get all free food, all free drinks. Whoops.
Oopsies.
And yeah, it was a lot of fun. Obviously, very cool to have that type of experience. But yeah, then after Utah, we headed across the Gulf, little cruise action.
Ooh.
This is your first cruise.
My first cruise, double thumbs up.
Double thumbs.
I had a great time. Love the all-you-can-drink, all-you-can-eat aspect, all-inclusive. It was pretty wonderful. And the food was good. Drinks were good. Everything just beat my expectations. Not by a ton, but by enough that I definitely would do it again. It's a great, like, group trip. Going with another couple or whatever.
Right, but not a good spot for like a bachelor party or like a dude trip.
He's saying it
something.
is.
I think that
Well, hold on, because you were talking. There were a couple of fights that broke out, right?
There were, but I imagine that my group of friends was a little bit different than these bachelor parties I was seeing. Maybe I'm thinking too highly of the people I
you
surround
expect
myself
too much
with.
of us, yeah.
But no, there was these two really douchey and kind of more I don't want to be rude.
Fratty.
Yeah, they were fratty, a little bit more hicky. I don't want to be rude in saying that, but definitely like Texas boys. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, so they were like, I don't know. It just seemed like a little bit different crowd than we would have. I feel like we would be able to have a great time, not get into it with anybody. But I can also see the disadvantages of doing a bachelor party on a cruise, for sure. But the fact that everybody can kind of do their own thing, eat what they want, drink as much as they want,
Gamble.
Gamble, see shows, play in poker tournaments. You can do this all this kind of stuff. So for those reasons.
Now, you participated in, or you just watched a newlywed game thing happening?
Watched a
newlywed
newlywed game.
Yeah.
Yep. It was very funny.
The
shows,
one disadvantage I would see from having a bachelor party in a cruise is if you don't have if you're rolling like 10 to 15 deep and you don't have an itinerary, you don't have an actual plan, people will just go off and like do their thing.
Yeah.
Like 3 of them would be missing and play in a poker tournament for like 8 hours.
Yeah.
For sure. Try to wrangle everyone. It's like, oh, so and so is in the poker tournament. So and so is passed out from drinking till 8 a.m. Whatever.
Yeah, I could see that happening as well. But there is some benefits. Like, okay, everybody do your thing. Let's all rally at this same place at this same time. You know that even though we might be separated, we're not far from one another.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Now, on this trip, so you didn't get into any fights, but was there anything that like...
I wish.
Was there... I mean, you basically have nothing to lose when you say, like, I've already died twice. Like,
Yeah.
try me, motherfucker.
Yep.
What a dangerous guy to fight.
Yeah, you really are. Is that...
Like, is he
Is there
willing to die?
When you're traveling obviously can bring out the worst in people when you're at airports or you're doing this. So it's a high stress, whatever. Is there anything that really like unnecessarily bothered you that maybe wouldn't bother you normally that happened on this trip?
When I go on vacations like this, especially with everything that's happened so recently, I was very much trying to just stay really positive. However, there is one thing in traveling, and maybe you guys can give your opinion on this. I am very much anti lean your seat back on the plane.
Oh yeah.
However,
seat back.
I'm also the guy that if I'm hungover on a plane, I don't give a fuck. I'm leaning my seat back. That's the only time I'll do it. But in my mind, it's like, gosh, unless you're in that very specific scenario, that extra 3 inches of lean back is doing nothing for you. It's really just creating a disruptive experience for me. So that did kind of annoy me because it happened on both of my flights there.
You're not short.
I'm not. And that would be the only thing that really annoyed me throughout the travel experience. Other than that, I was trying to stay
Quite positive.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
The funny thing about that is I don't think I have purposely tried to lean my seat back ever.
Right.
In any flight. It just does it because I'm so heavy.
Yeah, or like when you sit into the seat upon getting in, it like...
Yeah. Like, because there's been multiple times where the flight attendants were like, hey, we need you to lean your seat forward.
You had
I'm
no
like,
idea.
I don't even fucking do anything.
Yeah.
But it's just so far back because I'm so heavy. It's like, oh,
Happened
whatever.
to me too. There are a couple of things. So I know I wasn't just on a cruise. I was just leading my day-to-day life. There are 2 instances that has happened recently that have just like pissed me off more than I could like. There's just like no reason for it, and I want you guys to tell me that I was either justified in my feeling or just totally unreasonable. I imagine that you'll learn the unreasonable. When people don't understand their space in relationship to a line. I will say this in 2 parts. This has happened 2 times very recently. Number 1, when I'm sitting at a red light, and a person in front of me has chosen to leave 1 to 2 car spaces in front of them at the red light. You could move up, but you're choosing not to. The entire time, you could just inch forward. You're not going to do it. Another one recently, on Friday this past weekend, you're sitting I hate when people start a line at a bar. That just drives me nuts. Just go up to the bar and spread. But not only was there a line at this bar, there was the people at the front of this line who had a good like 6 to 8 feet that they put themselves between them as the front of the line and the actual bar. And then the people who left, they didn't backfill it. They waited for the bartender to then call them up. There's no sign that says that you need to wait in line. We just kind of all collectively fell into that situation, and it bothered me. Am I justified, or am I?
I was kind of annoyed with the tough luck thing, but I see the other side of it. It's like, I don't know, it's more controlled than chaos, so I guess waiting in line was fucking annoying, but
yeah,
it wasn't a big deal. The first one, though, I do that.
You give that space?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
do
that
that.
one I gotta say,
Because how does
it's
that
like,
really?
what
how does that
difference
affect?
How does that
does it
affect
make?
you?
Yeah.
Because it like takes like cups in a row and it just like jaunts it, right? It's almost like a bit of an OCD thing.
But I mean, you're not gonna get caught with the red light if you're second behind. Like, it doesn't do anything. I do that because of like pedestrians that are crossing or the cars that are turning.
But what I'm saying,
I like
is that
give myself enough room.
But he wasn't the first one. Well, I'm saying that he was a couple back. Then big distance
if you're
between.
the third car in line, do you give that space behind the second car?
Oh, I thought you were saying he was the first
Right.
back. That would bother me if there's a chance that the red light would catch
that you
me.
wouldn't get it. Yeah.
If it's like, if I know it's a slow light, then yeah, that would bother me.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm halfway justified.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really care when it comes to that kind of stuff. The lines in the bar, that kind of stuff does irk me a little bit. But I think in that specific situation, the only reason I understood is because there was like only 2 bartenders. There were so many people. It's like if we would have just flooded the bar, it would have been anarchy a little bit.
Yeah. And like you don't necessarily want to be the dickhead who goes up and says, "Oh, well, there's no such thing as a line."
Yeah. Fuck that.
But
Fuck that guy more than the line in the first place.
Also,
first place.
I am not the type of driver that's always in a hurry.
Yeah.
I'm like the
Leave earlier.
only exception is maybe if I'm running late for work, and even then I don't give that much of a fuck to like try to ruin everybody's life because I'm trying to get to work because I got up late.
Right.
Like I'm always going slow. I'm not in a rush. I'm not flashing my. I hate when fucking people do that. By the way,
yeah,
when they flash their brights, it's time to go. Or
way.
like you had to wait a half a second, so they're honking their horn.
Yeah.
It's like just chill the fuck out.
Yeah.
Or people that fucking that are
Who
riding
tail you in traffic.
I
That
hate
happened to
those
us.
fucking people.
I think on Saturday or Sunday it happened to us, where it's just we're all in traffic. You're getting nowhere, so you're weaving this way, you're coming back that way. Maybe you get another car, but then now I've come ahead, and it's just, what kind of life do you have to be living at that point? Like you are so stressed out all the time. You're an entitled driver.
The biggest joke about those people, especially around here, is the people that want to establish some sort of dominance where they're either riding you or they're giving you a look because you're going too slow. I want to send all those people to fucking drive in New York.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Drive in Jersey, drive in New York. See if you like those people will fucking cry. You think you're you think you're the fucking king of the jungle and driving around Portland? You won't be able to handle the fucking narrow roads in New York.
Yeah.
And people the cab drivers fucking riding you.
Yeah, and then like these guys too, they've got a ton of attitude. They're gonna get out and like try and start someone with
Beat you with a baseball bat.
We'll see how that goes. Well, anyways, I'm glad that you had a great time and were stress free. Allow me to introduce all this stress to you.
Yeah, no, it was a great time.
Talk about
Thank you.
things that make you upset, unprovoked. But
No, it's good to be back. Happy to be here with you boys.
Yeah, we did examine your chair. It turns out that it's relatively clean-ish.
Yeah, we'll see. We're going to get the black light out here in a little bit.
Yeah.
We
that's
had so
probably
many viewers for the Jordan episode.
Oh, yeah?
I
A lot
don't
of
know.
likes and subscribes.
A lot of likes and
fair.
subscribes.
Likes and subscribes.
Oh, damn, man.
In your stead, it was
Joe.
nice to have a replacement, but nothing can replace B-Rax.
Maybe you need to fire up a stove the way that Jordan was smoking it all classy.
Yeah, I wish I could.
You
I
know
wish I
what? That I had to spend probably 3 straight days trying to air out this damn garage.
Honestly, that was the first thing I thought about when I saw him pull it out of the wrapper. I was like, "Oh gosh,
Yeah.
I'm surprised Pete's okay."
It was
with
brutal.
that.
And then he left the damn the ashtray in here. So we're already on slippery slope from allowing this to happen. So
Yeah,
you can't
Joe,
let it
it's-
ruin.
Come
But
on,
then
man.
Alex had his, and he was blowing it back that way, and Lindsay was going into the HVAC system. So
Just rookies, man.
I know these guys.
I remember my first time.
These guys. Well, let's see. Why don't we go ahead and talk some sports? I remember the first time I
Masturbated.
No, I wasn't. That's not the sports part of things.
Oh, you heard that?
I don't like that you whispered it.
Let's see. In the NFL, do we want to start about NFL players being suspended for betting? But probably we should start with Aaron Rodgers finally getting
Yeah,
traded.
get that bitch out of the way.
You have Aaron Rodgers officially, after a month or 6 weeks ago when they said it was going to happen, or that they thought it was going to happen, or that he came out of his wilderness darkness retreat.
He went to 3 more of those.
Finally happens. And in principle, it's not officially official, but it looks like Aaron Rodgers to the Jets. You have a pick swap for this year. You have a second-round pick that could turn into a first-round pick, which probably will if Aaron Rodgers plays 65% takes 65% of snaps this upcoming season. So a pretty big deal considering what we see in the NFL in regards to players getting traded. Anyways, usually you get, oh, yeah, this guy goes for a 7th-round pick or whatever. What do you guys think?
The best part is he's following the exact footsteps of Favre. Become a Hall of
Loves
Famer,
that.
win a Super Bowl, go to the Jets. He's going to play for the Jets, and then he's going to ask for a trade to Minnesota and steal welfare. That's exactly what he's doing. He is on that trajectory.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. What do you guys think? Like the potential for the Jets is now. Do you think that they're like automatic playoff bound Super Bowl contenders? Or
I don't know if I'd go as far as Super Bowl contenders, but you have to understand that the defense that they built from the draft and picking up players and then having Breece Hall and decent receivers.
Yeah.
The only missing piece was a shitty Zach Wilson. Now you have Brett Favre. I don't know if
Rodgers.
I'd put him in or Brett Favre. Aaron Rodgers.
2.0.
Oh shit.
I don't know if I'd put him in the Super Bowl, but they are contenders for sure.
It is interesting when you look like they are attempting to go all in, similar to what the Rams did, right? Like they're trying to find their window and see if it works out. You know, they've got a lot of first rounders that they gave up, and they take a proven quarterback. They say, we think that we can possibly make this happen, and I guess we'll see.
I think the upside, though, is if you compare what the Rams did to what the Jets are doing or about to do, I think the ceiling or where Aaron Rodgers is compared to Stafford that's a massive gap. Aaron Rodgers is that much better than him.
It is. So one thing that's good for the Jets is that a lot of the money that Aaron Rodgers is owed will be dead money for the Packers. So the cap hit next year for Aaron Rodgers is less than $20 million. In the second year, it's about 32. So you're thinking like this is a very good option for them from a cap hit perspective. All of that dead money will be on the Packers' book.
Isn't there some sort of a clause when it comes to the deal that he has to play 60% of the snaps for
the Jets for the first round pick to kick in? So it goes from a second round pick to a first round pick if he plays 65% to the Packers. So,
which he will, pending injury.
And I mean, I wonder do you think that just a jaunt real quick to the Packers, do we think that this means it's Jordon Love time, or did they do this to prepare for possibly ushering in a new quarterback?
How far did they move up?
They moved from 15 to 13, but they could package things up to even jump further.
I mean, I don't know if they would package things up. I think that they've, invested enough into Love that they need to give him a fair chance. Obviously, this last year he had some opportunity, but he got injured and wasn't able to do a full season. So I think you give him at least another year to see if he's worth it. But do you still maybe get a backup in the second round or somebody who's maybe not one of those top 5 guys that we've heard so much about?
Sure.
That's possible.
I mean, at this point, if they're 13...
If Anthony Richardson is there, do you take him?
Or Stroud. Who would want Stroud at this point?
Yeah, and we'll talk about the draft here in just a second. I want to put a bow on Aaron Rodgers. The possibility of, when you look at that AFC East, I mean, you have, obviously, the Bills, but who knows what's going to be happening with the Patriots this upcoming season. You do have Bill O'Brien coming in to hopefully help with Mac Jones. But I don't necessarily... I mean, Bill Belichick is always going to make things interesting. I do think that they're probably like a 500 team, maybe 1 or 2, plus minus 1 or 2 wins. So, playoff team, yes, for the Jets.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, but Miami will be in there too. They're a part
Miami will be there too. There's an expanded wild card, so I mean, there's the possibility of even more teams making it in.
Yeah.
And the Dolphins have the White Knight now. I mean, let's not forget that.
That's true.
And Tua's already, talking about how he's considered retirement and all this other stuff, but
yeah, I don't blame him.
He's playing this year because he gets paid like 5 times more than he made last year.
It's hard to see where Miami could be though because of Tua. Because
That's
you don't know how many games he's gonna play. You don't know, and are you gonna put your record in fucking Mike White? Like, what does that mean? Yeah, you have Hill and you have Waddle and all that, but if you don't have anyone to lead them, who knows if they'll even make the playoffs if Tua plays like 4 games.
So right now, you guys both would say that you think the Jets have more of a chance to make the playoffs than the Dolphins?
I would say yes.
I would
because of Tua.
I mean, here's the thing. Like, Aaron Rodgers coming off of his worst season ever. And was 90-10 thinking that he was going to retire. And then he has this, Vision Quest epiphany that he actually wants to play. But, like, what's going to happen now when Aaron Rodgers gets into the New York media, and there's all of that extra attention. There's going to be, gosh, we thought that the media circuit and the news circuit was crazy, was wild with Green Bay. He is going to be in Media Central.
I don't think my concern would be with the media and the relationship between him and the news media and everyone, though. I think Aaron Rodgers is not at the point of his career where he's done. Like, he's not 45 and can barely throw. Like, Aaron Rodgers is still Aaron Rodgers to me, not prime, not 2010. So, and he's also a crybaby. So if you're saying that he's coming off his worst season, is because he didn't fucking feel like playing because he didn't have anyone around him. Maybe he gets some rejuvenated energy playing around a bunch of young guys that are ready to go, and you see him perform again.
Looking at their schedule, we don't necessarily know in what order they will be playing it. 2023, right, is our... Who will the Jets play in the 2023 season? Let's go ahead and look at that. Maybe do like a nice little yes, win, no. And again, I don't know the week. So the next month is when we'll know. At home, the Jets will get Washington, the Eagles, Atlanta, the Chargers, the Chiefs, the Texans, the Bills, the Dolphins, and the Patriots. On the road, they will have the Cowboys, the Giants, the Broncos, the Browns, the Raiders, the Bills, the Dolphins, the Patriots.
Yeah, there's something inside of me that's saying that they'll maybe go 500. Because
Jets maybe go 5?
Yes. Because I think so often in these situations, like when has this really worked out? Like you can say, okay, this has worked out for Tom Brady and the Bucks. But usually when an older quarterback who's maybe at the, precipice of his abilities, I guess you could say, I don't think he's going to increase anymore. I think it's only a downward trajectory. It's just how steep will that be? Like, there's a part of me that's like, I think this might just blow up.
But you're asking when have we seen it? We saw it with the Rams.
Yeah, but see, what happened with the Rams is that the Rams had some all-pro talent. I mean, like you had Aaron Donalds and the Joey Bosa. You had all these guys.
Okay,
with the Jets, you have
they,
Packers 2.0. You have all these young guys again. You have second-year receivers. You've got a young running back. You have a very young core, which Aaron Rodgers had a very big problem with last year.
Every all-pro you named was defense with the Rams. See, if I'm comparing the Rams that won the Super Bowl and Aaron Rodgers going to the Jets, we're sitting here saying it's all on Aaron Rodgers. No one sat there and said it's all on Stafford. Stafford didn't perform great. He was surrounded by the Cam Akers and
Cooper Kupp. Well, Cam Akers was kind of trash for a while, but
he
Cooper Kupp,
he had enough there.
You had Allen Robinson, which he didn't do much either.
And we're not talking about rookies that are just coming in. We saw these young guys perform. Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, we saw
Michael
them perform.
Carter.
You have Sauce Gardner. We saw these guys play their fucking ball. Like, they were great last season.
Yeah, well, Breece Hall not there anymore. Or no, it's Elijah Moore is what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I don't know. And I think just as much as I can see the 500 season happening, I also agree that, there is that possibility that, they go to the playoffs and they have a late run. But it's just, I don't know. I think that if my scale is leaning more towards the 500.
I'm writing the fact that I don't think last season is a representation of Aaron Rodgers not being able to play anymore. I don't think he felt like playing. I don't think he was motivated. I don't think he was there. I don't think he just felt like this team wasn't going to go anywhere, so he didn't try. Because he's kind of that crybaby. He's like, you're not going to give me what I want, whatever. But you don't think this will bring some fresh energy to be surrounded by people he can actually play with?
Yes, I can see what you're saying, but that same person that you're talking about with that same kind of attitude is going into an environment that he is not this top dog who's been there, who's created history, won a Super Bowl for this team. and he's not surrounded by people that, I'm sure they're going to, kind of adhere to what he needs and bend the rules or whatever, but I'm sure they're not going to do it as much as they did in Green Bay. He probably won't carry as much weight just walking in the door. And also, you're dealing with a much, much younger team that he's probably going to have to help teach and take on more of a mentor role with some of these guys. So I think it's going to take a lot out of him, and he kind of just seems like a guy who doesn't want to give that kind of emotional effort to his team, to the game. He wants to go out, he wants to play football, win games, get his check, and kind of go home.
I think
I don't know. That's kind of why I feel like maybe they'll, maybe they just won't do great.
A big problem that the Packers had last year, especially on offense, was kind of that like internal infighting, the battle between Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers from an offensive standpoint, them going against each other, them disagreeing. We've seen those like both in their post-game press conferences, and you've seen it on the field when they disagree. But what you have with the Jets, aside from your defensive head coach, so you know that he's going to stay out of your way, your offensive coordinator, Nathaniel Hackett, who is the best offensive coach that Aaron Rodgers has ever played with, according to Aaron Rodgers, will be your offensive coordinator. And so, like, Robert Saleh, in a bit of a hot seat, will probably defer and say, this is your guys' show.
That's what I mean.
The ownership that he
out.
could have with that.
It's like, you got the offense, let me take care of the defense.
So
You're
that
Aaron Rodgers.
could work out in their favor. But again, you're in the AFC. And not only that, but you're in an AFC East where all three of your counterparts are potentially playoff teams in the Bills, in the Dolphins, and the Patriots, depending on how the Patriots do. But I mean, you're facing the defending champions. You're facing the Chargers and the Chiefs. So like you're going through like the AFC South gauntlet, and then like who knows what the Broncos
and the Browns,
will be.
don't forget about them in the gauntlet.
Sure.
Browns aren't in the WNBA.
You've got Jimmy G and the Raiders this year. Yahoo. Got the Broncos. Who knows what you're going to get with Russell Wilson and Sean Payton, and then the Giants and the Cowboys. Those are both tough. Those are tough games too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of tough. I mean, you look at like the Falcons, Washington football team, and the Texans. And then possibly like throw in time of year depending on who might be injured or whatever. Like you've got yourself a really tough schedule.
I'll tell you what, I have more faith in Rodgers performing for the Jets better than Jimmy G. I just haven't
with the Raiders.
Yeah, I don't see.
I would agree with that.
I don't
though.
believe in Jimmy Garoppolo at all.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is just a better player all around. But I tell you what, all these new faces, new places, I'm very excited for this NFL season.
Yeah, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, that guy's on that team now. Especially like Odell Beckham Jr., who's somehow on the Ravens still. Eventually, maybe we'll talk about Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
And that will have finally like you were hoping, you were thinking. I mean, gosh, you were gone for this long. You were talking about like two storylines that you were hoping would go away. Well, finally, one of them has.
Yeah.
You have to actually talk about it this time around.
Yeah.
But one thing that we also have to talk about is the fact that 4 Lions players suspended for gambling, including...
Just accept it. Stop suspending them.
The thing, a few of them are interesting because you have some indefinite suspensions, and then you have 6-game suspensions. At first, I'm like, well, wait, how in the world do some guys get indefinite and other guys get 6? Well, apparently these guys were betting on non-NFL games, but doing it at the facility or on a team bus or on a team plane.
Their
So
IP address got tracked. And they were doing it in the locker room, like some of them, I guess.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, a couple of these guys were actually gambling on
But it's not NFL.
college,
Like, what's
I think.
is it just me, or like what's the big deal if they're not betting on their own sport?
Yeah, I think they're going to, the NFL, I think all professional sports and organizations are going to have to make a change to that, especially because you're starting to see them team up with these gambling companies and use them as, majority sponsors and things like that. So I think they've got to find a way to work that out because it's going to get ugly. I don't think this is something that's going like nuanced and it's just going to be a one-off. I think we're going to see this happening more and more and more.
Yeah, or just within maybe the collective bargaining agreement or something. Like to your point, when you're talking about like they're going to be putting like sports books into stadiums.
Yeah.
They're taking sponsorship money. Like it's all over. Like DraftKings this, FanDuel that are sponsoring everything within the NFL. And these guys go, well, one, we're all impressionable and we all want to bet and all of that. Like you want to get in on that. But like maybe there's something within the collective bargaining agreement or something where these guys can get some sort of a cut from that or whatever. Or maybe it's just like they don't care about the money. They just kind of like the idea of like
it's fun
of saying, oh, hey, like you got that at plus, 900. That's so stupid. I'll put $5 on that
Like,
too.
do we really think these guys are sitting there trying to even out like not making enough money in the league? They're not putting $200,000 in like
sure.
to bet on the Angels or something or a Stanley Cup playoffs. They're probably putting like $200 on a parlay because it's fun.
Yeah, let the boys gamble, not on their own sport.
Not on their own sport.
That makes sense. And maybe a part of it is that you have to share your gambling account with your team or whatever so they can see your spending and what you're betting on. So maybe that'll
They're maxing out certain money or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know, but you got to figure out a way because this is going to keep happening.
It's interesting too because there was a Browns radio personality who was relieved from his duties for saying in a radio interview that he was going to bet on the Browns to do XYZ. I think it was like a Week 17 game. And I think that what he was I think he was the first official like sports bettor in the state of Ohio to like bring in the new sports betting in that state. And then the Browns terminated his contract because he was a team employee betting on the Browns, which, again, it's like, what in the world does he have to do with it, right? I mean, so it is kind of ridiculous, but that's the precedent they've set.
The partial owner of the 76ers, I forget his name, the guy who owns Fanatics. Fanatics has gotten into the gambling space, and he just had Michael Rubin.
Michael Rubin,
yep.
Correct, CEO of Fanatics.
And he had to sell his shares or ownership of the 76ers because the Fanatics is getting into gambling.
Yeah, you have to...
He had to detach.
Divest himself.
Yep.
Degenerates.
So it's interesting, but, I mean, it's coming. There's no avoiding the gambling wave, so embrace it. Let the boys play.
The final thing that I want to talk about in the NFL before we get to the NBA playoffs, I did think that it was interesting. We talked again, and I guess, kind of get your opinion on the other side, Braxton, because we talked about it a lot last week, was about Jalen Hurts and his contract.
Oh, I heard.
So, in his press conference today, when he was asked about being the highest paid NFL player, and, oh, man, like last year you were competing for this contract, and now you're the highest paid player in the NFL. Like, how validating is that for you? And he said, money is nice, but championships are better, which is great.
Yep.
If you think championships are better, maybe don't take $51 million. That's all I got to say.
Which is such a hypocritical take when people say it. It's like if you compare it across the board with anything, it's like you have in your career, you have the skill to perform well at a job. And this job that you just got offers you this money. Do you then go, I need talented people around me. I need you to pay me less. Is that something you would do?
I think that that's what some players have done.
Is that something you would do?
No, because I like money. But he's saying that money is nice.
It's such a hypocritical take.
But he says
I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy.
Who in the world would say, "Pay me"? You're being offered something in the world we are in today, where everyone, the Deshaun Watsons, are getting paid. You're really gonna sit there and say, "Pay me less because I like championships"? Get the fuck out of here.
The other thing is, in this hypothetical, if if the team were to come to him and be like, "Hey, we're in this situation. We need your help," that's one thing. But it seems that they came to him and said, "Hey, we think you're worth this. This is how much we're willing."
Who is he to turn it down?
Give you. Yeah. And he says, "Okay, I accept your offer." You can only, it's not like he's like, "Whoa, wait a second.
Don't do that. I do think that when you see Kyler Murray getting $180 million guaranteed, you just go, "All right." Well,
it's a different time. I feel like two things. If this was 10 years ago and he was being offered this much money, on top of the team going, "Just so you know, we're willing to pay you this, but if we pay you this, we're not going to have room for so and so and so and so," and he takes it, then you can criticize him for it. They came to him to pay him this much. In today's NFL, where everyone is getting a fuck ton of money.
Yeah.
And a point you made that was kind of funny to me is that you made a point that, oh my gosh, this is the biggest contract, and you said, "I don't think he deserves this much." It makes Patrick Mahomes' contract of X amount of years ago look small or whatever. And it's just like, well, yeah, in another 4 years, somebody's going to get a contract.
Which I did follow up my comments.
You
on
did
that.
say that towards the end, but it's like, this is going to look stupid in 4 or 5 years.
You know what's going to actually look very stupid is I looked into the contract a little bit more after the podcast. I probably should have looked at it up again because we were talking about the adjusted or like the average amount per year, $51 million. The first few years, very favorable for them. It's
Yeah,
like
he makes
$24 million.
Yeah, the first year of the contract, he makes like $8 million. I think.
You know what it is in 2027? It's like $70 million cap hit. It's like insane. Like they're screwed in 2027.
That's a classic future me problem.
That is a kick the can down the way. So they actually might do pretty well the next few years. Because of the way that the,
what I want to
contract
know is because you're not on an island when it comes to your take here. Because I was looking at the comments and everyone's like, "Oh, if you like championships, take less money, whatever." There's a shit ton of people with that take. How come there is more of an outrage with this Jalen Hurts deal than Deshaun Watson's? Like, I've been hearing way more shit, the people that are against this deal, than Deshaun Watson. If you're comparing the two, what has Deshaun Watson done for his team versus what's Jalen Hurts done for his team? It's like people are more pissed about Jalen Hurts making this much money versus the money Deshaun Watson got.
which is all guaranteed.
I think that really comes down to just like that he's a bigger star than Deshaun Watson and that he was just in the Super Bowl and people are more, emotional about it.
That whole,
Like,
just the whole
You think that's a
Deshaun
recency
Watson
thing?
was
I do. I think that's recency bias.
I think
Because that makes no sense.
Yeah,
if
it's
you're
zero.
if you're pissed about his contract, you should be 10 times pissed.
Livid.
the
with
Deshaun,
Watson.
the Deshaun Watson one is so egregious because it's paid to a dirt human.
It's called good management, Peter.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like what they did was they created this environment for
Unrealistic
a betting
expectations.
Yeah, for a betting spree to think like, oh, Atlanta's in on it, Miami's in on it. Oh, I'm not going to go to the Browns. Remember, he said that he wasn't going to play for the Browns, and the Browns were like, we'll guarantee everything. And then he's like, all right, I think I could play in Cleveland.
And also, Jalen Hurts' whole deal was so organically done leading up to the day that he got paid. What about Kyler? What about the tantrum he was throwing months before getting the
That's a
money
good
that he
point.
was fucking crying about?
Yeah, he scrubs his social media.
I just feel like my boy Jalen doesn't deserve any of this shit, man.
He doesn't. The only thing he deserves is every penny of that contract.
Watch him.
I
win a
hope
Super
that
Bowl.
I hope that he will prove will prove me wrong.
I do want to ask, though, and maybe I shouldn't because this might go down the Jalen Hurts hole, and I really just am curious.
No one wants to go down his hole any more than you.
Yeah. But if in this scenario where like, hey, let's go for a draft pick, get him on a rookie contract, build around him, win a Super Bowl, right? And don't keep Jalen Hurts. In this draft, hypothetically, what type of quarterback would you want?
In this draft?
In this hypothetical draft, in this scenario where you're saying, okay, I'm going after a rookie quarterback to do it on a rookie contract, Wouldn't
you know what I would have
say?
said is probably like the prototypical one is probably CJ Stroud of those ones. But now
You do not mean you don't mean that, because you know we would make fun of you if you actually say who you mean. You don't mean prototypical CJ Stroud. Prototypical to you is Justin Herbert.
I mean,
That's
talking,
not lining up with CJ Stroud. It's a prototypical
CJ Stroud
quarterback
is
look.
is a tall, athletic quarterback. He can pass and he can also
CJ
run.
Stroud's not 6'6".
How tall is CJ Stroud?
CJ Stroud's like 6'2".
No, he's not.
6'2",
Bet that.
6'3".
CJ Stroud.
You just knew you were going to get made fun of if you named somebody that
He's
looked like
6'3".
Herbert. So you name CJ Stroud, which doesn't align with your take of a prototypical quarterback. Because
so
a prototypical quarterback look would be Will Levis.
Will Levis looks more like a freaking linebacker these days. Like a fullback.
It's all those coffees.
Backpedal and backpedal and backpedal.
Oh, goodness.
But
All
look
I'm
at-
trying to get you to say, Pete, which is kind of what you're saying, is that I think, well, I guess not. You're saying you want a more standard quarterback.
Here, can I say the two things that I'm saying? I'm saying that you get paid to be the best paid player in the NFL after one season, and you pay too much money to just one player, and I don't like that. Those are the two. I mean,
Yeah. And what I'm trying to
the
say is,
Deshaun Watson one, an outrage. The Kyler Murray one, an outrage. I mean, like, honestly, those ones are so stupid. They were so dumb.
But that's hindsight, especially for the Kyler Murray one. I think that he was playing at a point, and it was early in his career where there was enough hype around him that it made some sense. Hindsight, yeah, it looks really stupid. Deshaun Watson, that's kind of on an island as being just dumb in general. But I do not think that this is a dumb deal. I think that the hunger for Hurts to go and win a Super Bowl and for this Eagles team to win a Super Bowl is at an all-time high.
I also don't think we should downplay the fact that when you say you've taken your team to the Super Bowl once, getting to the Super Bowl
is a very difficult thing.
That is how many Hall of Fame quarterbacks have played in the NFL that have never smelled the Super Bowl. The game, just the game by itself. Yeah, he made it once, but that's in his second year as a full-time starter. That's not an easy thing to do, to get to the Super Bowl. That is very hard.
Even Josh Allen hasn't been to one, right?
Nope.
No.
And he's top 5 quarterback in the league, no doubt, Hall of Famer.
Josh Allen?
Josh Allen.
Well, we'll see, I guess.
Probably on his way. I don't think he's there.
Well, come on. If he
But what
keeps
he's getting-
trending the way he does.
But, I mean, he took an early deal and is nowhere. I think he's somewhere in the 30s, I think. Either way. Those are my things. It might not be. I hope that I am proven wrong. And
we'll see, Pete.
We shall see. We'll also see what happens here with the NFL draft. It looks more and more likely that Bryce Young will be taken first overall. But, we could see smoke and mirrors with whatever is happening with CJ Stroud and Will Levis and, stocks going up. This time, right before the draft, is when, and this is interesting, a lot of NFL reporters are like this. Right around the 2 or 3 weeks before the draft, they hear a lot of stuff, and they're not reporting barely any of it. Because there's probably going to be those around who will run with Will Levis is going to be the second guy because someone's trying to diminish the value of someone else so that then they can build up someone else. So, what can be believed right now? We've seen all of the stuff where CJ Stroud tested terribly on the S2, which, takes a lot of aptitude when it comes to football. It's not just the Wonderlic test. There's let me go ahead and...
that's a really low score. That's record-breaking low.
Test.
And I think the Will Levis thing is, I think they're a little bit comfortable reporting that because it came from Stroud scoring so low in the S2 that they're like, okay, he was projected to be the second pick. Now Will Levis technically will take him over because this will worry a lot of NFL scouts.
Yeah, because what it does is it doesn't just be hey, look at your aptitude. This scientifically measures an athlete's game speed, cognitive abilities down to the millisecond.
Yeah, that's bad.
And when CJ Stroud is testing 18 to Bryce Young's 98, maybe he was hungover or something. Like,
Well, I know
that's not good.
It's not good at all.
I know this isn't the test, but if you can kind of visualize the test, you know that game in a Dave and Buster's or any other arcade, where you have to push the button on the light as soon as it lights up.
Yeah.
The way he scored, you could kind of picture him like that light being on for 5 seconds before he presses it. Like 18% is super low.
I have to do that game at occupational therapy. They have a light wall where I have to do that, and I get like 60 something at least.
Yeah, for him to score 18%, because again, this doesn't test your intelligence. Like, he's a smart quarterback, but your split-second decision-making and your memory and all that is what it really determines. And I just picture him scoring 18%, which is fucking... Because in comparison, Bryce Young was 98%, right?
Yeah.
I picture him scoring 18%, and those lights on the wall would go on, and he's just staring at it. And he's like, boop! Like, why are you moving so slow, dude?
Just want to be sure.
Like, what are you looking at?
Oh, gosh.
That's bad, though.
Not good at all.
Do you think that it is? I mean, because that's the thing. Will someone still take, like, at this point, even if you see an S2 cognitive score like this, you're so late in the ball game, do you just fall in love with a certain guy and you just look past it?
I think NFL Combine carries more weight than like an NBA Combine. Like when a Kevin Durant test to, slow in the shuttle run or something like that, it doesn't mean as much as an NFL Combine. I think NFL scouts put a lot of weight on an NFL Combine. The only thing that matters a little bit less would be like the size of your hand or something like that, because a lot of quarterbacks have proven that wrong. It doesn't matter. But stuff like this, I feel like is a big deal. Even if someone's in love with him, this will make him think twice before taking him.
Especially because these guys who are, going through this process, and drafting these players, they're very analytical, you've got to imagine. And so something like this has to hold some weight.
I agree. And it's not like we're talking about again, when you say prototypical, we're not talking about a 6'7" guy who could run, a 4'3".
Yeah, he's scrawny.
Who could, he's
6'3",
got
214.
He's got an arm, but it's no Richardson. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like you're falling in love with a perfect QB and you can overlook something like this. He's not perfect.
Yeah, I guess that, like, when I think about, by comparison to Bryce Young, who is a towering 5'10", and probably ate so much to be 204 pounds. I think that he rests right around 190. But I am curious. I imagine that the Panthers will take Young on Thursday. However, Frank Reich was a quarterback himself. He was a quarterback for the Panthers, for crying out loud. And, like, I wonder if it would be difficult for him to, like, take a quarterback that, like, where he has liked the Carson Wentz's and the Andrew Lucks of the world.
Yeah, kind of the antithesis of Bryce Young.
The tall white guy.
Yep.
He might. This might be unfair because you can say this about a lot of college quarterbacks that were either Heisman winners or Heisman candidates, or the Mariotas of the world, or Joe Burrow and any of those guys. But I don't think CJ Stroud is that good. I think CJ Stroud has been blessed with some of the most incredible receiving core in Ohio State history. Having Olave, Marvin Harrison Jr., Jackson and Digba or whatever.
Jigba, yeah.
These are some of the best receivers I've ever seen in college.
Yeah.
And a lot of the Ohio State games where CJ Stroud just throw it in the end zone. One of them will catch it. That's how good they are.
Yeah.
Most of the time, those guys were by themselves.
For sure.
I'm not high on CJ Stroud.
Which team is most poised in the top 10 to mess this up? You have the Panthers at 1, the Texans at 2, the Cardinals at 3.
Cardinals.
The Cardinals have been rumored to be shopping that pick. the Colts at 4, the Seahawks at 5, the Lions at 6, the Raiders at 7, the Falcons at 8, the Bears at 9, the Eagles at 10.
I don't have a lot of faith in Cardinals management. If they stay at 3, their organization I feel like is a fucking mess.
I think that the Colts are going to mess this up monumentally.
That's what I was going to say as well.
Yeah, I think that what the Cardinals should do at 3 is they should trade it and they should kick to the future, because in a year or two they're going to realize they don't want Kyler and they're going to realize they don't want the head coach that they hired from Philly.
Mm-hmm.
So then if they can start preparing for a couple of years from now when they can just be like, oopsies, that was a bad choice, then maybe you can realize we're going to just the Cardinals could be a team that I don't know, could the Cardinals be a team that tries to tank for Caleb Williams? Which team is going to say, hey, we didn't get our guy this year, so we're
After
just
paying Kyler that much?
I know, but I mean, what could you possibly do? I mean, I'm sure that there's ways out of that Kyler deal. I mean, you could absorb a ton, but still, if you're a guy on a rookie quarterback, then who knows?
I think if you're a team who not in dire need, but you could see yourself drafting a quarterback, I think it's worth to wait till next season. Because the quarterback class coming out for the next draft is way better than this draft.
There are some interesting, proven, quote unquote, with the Bryce Young and the CJ Stroud. But then you have the Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, where there's, a lot of unknowns there. But yeah, next year with
Next
headlined
year's quarterback class is insane.
Well, gosh, you just look
Our
at
guy Bo.
You just look at the Pac-12 this next year with Penix and Williams and Nix and what's his bucket from Utah. And he's not an NFL guy, and then you've got DJU at Oregon State.
Mm-hmm.
Who's at Arizona State now? Someone
Gosh,
good.
the Pac-12 is going to be so fun to watch.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for college
State
football.
So
Colorado is going to be electric.
So, but yeah, I want to get your thoughts, and then we can talk about Colorado next. You think that the Colts are going to mess this up?
Yeah, I don't see them doing something that's going to be monumental with this pick.
If they pick at 4 and they pick a quarterback at 4, I think they're going to mess this up.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think,
and I think that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I've looked at a number of mock drafts, and the Colts might be silly enough to take a flyer on Anthony Richardson. A big project, a big question mark on, who knows at that point. So, moving on to college football, and then we'll finish off with the NBA. I wanted to address what was going on with Colorado. Colorado was their spring game this past weekend, and then after that, they had 15 guys, 1-5, after that spring game enter the transfer portal.
First of all, do you see the attendance for that spring game?
It had 46,000 people. 46,000
Their
people.
last spring game had 7,000?
Maybe, yeah, if you're lucky.
Wow.
15 guys, including the wide receiver, I'll find his name here in a second, who had 3 catches for 198 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Not the receiver corner guy, right?
Travis,
Hunter?
no. There's a receiver who put up those stats and a running back who ran for 154 yards in the spring game. Both entered the transfer portal.
Yeah, it brings
or one decommitted and one entered the portal.
It brings their total up to 42 players who have entered the transfer portal since Prime has arrived.
Damn.
And said he brought his luggage with him, and it's Louis.
Louis
And
Vuitton.
a total roster turnover. It's an interesting time, a nationally televised game. You put up 198 yards. Maybe you were, not the belle of the ball before.
Yeah.
I did see somewhere.
Certainly are now.
I did see somewhere that more than half of those guys were like bottom roster guys though. like
They were
like
3s and 4s.
almost practice squad dudes, like
Yeah.
most of them.
Yeah, and
But still, it's kind of telling. I don't know.
yeah,
Maybe
and
they see the
I don't think
competition and they're like,
yeah, and I don't think there's any secret about like, his coaching style, Dion's coaching style. Like he's pretty hard nosed, old fashioned, by my way or the highway coach, and I could see that would rub people the wrong way. So if you're not getting playing time,
and you're not going to, then there's no way that you're going to change
yeah, and
his
you're
mind.
getting dogged on all the time, I mean, I wouldn't blame him.
There's another take that I saw that's far from, because the easy thing is to put it on Dion. It's like they're not going to be able to handle him as a coach and his personality. There's one take that I saw today, specifically with like the two main guys, like the two guys that are going to be starters that decommitted or entered the portal, seeing their quarterback, and it was like, this guy's a D2 quarterback at best. I don't know if we fell into the hype and seeing that we're gonna go to the fucking NCAA playoffs, but he might not be the guy. Which
Shador, his
and
son?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
they're like, he might not be D1 material, but
Ooh.
at that point, that would be a very cocky take for those guys to like just bounce and like, I don't think you're as good as me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that was just a different take that I saw.
That'll be interesting because I remember watching him play, and he was electric. But obviously, that's HBCU and Division
Division 1 AA. I guess.
Yeah, 1 AA. But yeah, college football is going to be awesome. The Pac-12 will be good. Great if we're able to watch it. That remains to be seen because of all the rights issues, but that will allow the Portland local radio to solve that. I want to get into the NBA playoffs.
Before you get into the NBA,
sure.
I want to see your guys' take on this because I feel like this is kind of a big deal.
Sure.
The rule change with college
Yes.
that they're now going to have a running clock on first downs. What do you think about that? So you know how in the NFL, clock keeps going while they're moving the chains.
Oh,
in
yes.
college, you're technically allotted more time to like get things set up
Yes,
because
until the chains are
they're
set.
stopping the clock, and it looks like it's to shorten the games.
Yes.
Which, in my opinion, dude, I only get college football for 3 months. I don't give a fuck if it's 6
Yeah,
hours long.
fuck
Like, why are you
that.
trying to shorten it?
Yeah. The exception to that is within the last 2 minutes of each half.
Of each half.
Yeah.
But it's like,
Okay.
I see some advantages. I see like these guys are going to be going to the NFL, and if you have the same rules, I get it. You get them used to it. It's like, I wouldn't be surprised if in a year or two you gotta catch the ball with both feet and bounce in college,
Yeah.
right? You see some of the same rules from college to the pro, but if the whole point of this is to shorten the games, is it really that big of a deal to do that?
Yeah, I mean, like, they're taking a bit of, like, the XFL and the USFL, and they're going, oh, like, these fancy things that they're trying to do to get attention. But college football already has that attention. They don't need to be gimmicky. And I have never thought that a college football game oh, that's too long. Like,
I've
not
never
like
heard
baseball.
anybody complain that it was too long.
And that's my thing. It's like, if there's good reasons that I haven't heard, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's cool. It doesn't really change that much for me. But if your main reason for it is to shorten the games, I think that's bullshit
that.
because maybe cancel the 12 TV commercials in every
True.
game.
That is true. I mean, like,
Why would you put it on the
they'll-
chains?
Yeah, there will be a score, then a kickoff, then another timeout, and then you come back. Like, that is not necessarily the issue. But, I mean, like, they got to keep the revenue stream going. So I think we're all in alignment there as it relates to how silly of a rule that is. Right now, someone being made to look silly, the Milwaukee Bucks, down 3-1 to the Miami Heat.
Number one overall.
Number one overall. Giannis comes back. They lose. Not so good for them.
Jimmy B is a doubt.
Sure is.
56
Doubt.
points.
Doing that
today?
without Tyler Hero.
That's a massive deal.
Big deal.
Huge deal.
Big deal.
I mean, 56 points, I'm pretty sure that's like, I think he's like 4th or 3rd in most playoff points ever.
Yeah, that was an electric game, and he took over towards the end there.
Are the Bucks going to come back and win that?
No.
Now they're
No.
they have to win. They have to win the next 3. It's win or go home 3 times in a row.
They do go back home, but that's so hard to do.
Yeah, especially when your star and Giannis is looking for contact and then like too afraid to go to the rim. Like you could tell that like he's an injured player right now by how he's trying to draw that contact, or I mean to a degree also avoid it. I'm double talking there, but whatever. The New York Knicks and the Cleveland Cavaliers, it looks like Juan Magoo is going to stay 100% against Dear Jodes from last week. Baited him into another
Sucker.
bet.
Gotcha, bitch.
The 2 series, though, that have been the most compelling, and we don't necessarily have to get too much into the series themselves because anything that we have to say now from a game perspective will be obsolete. But the Warriors and the Kings has lived up to everything that we were hoping it would be.
Every game has been fucking insane. Like if you're a fan of either team, you have had like heart attacks.
Yeah.
Not to make fun of Braxton. Not to that level.
Not to that level.
Oh man.
But you've been stressed, I'll tell you that. If
Yeah.
you're a Kings or a Warriors fan, these games have been insane.
Yeah, and I think that there's been all these fun stats as it relates to Steph Curry and the playoffs. Like, Steph Curry has never gone down 0-2 in a playoff series, and Steph Curry has never been in a series longer than 6 games or something stupid like that.
I first of all, I want that job. I want the job of
to be the
obscure stats.
Obscure
Like
stat
you just
guy.
see a stat of like, Rui Hachimura is the first player to score 15 points after using his towel only twice in a game. It's like who comes up with who
Yeah.
watches this shit?
He's probably the only Japanese player to do that.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
Sure.
You might be
Good
right.
for him.
But yeah, when the Kings did not win that game, could not pull through on Sunday, for the Warriors to be able to lock that down 2-2 with the uncertainty of De'Aaron Fox with his finger fracture, my bet with you is not seeming so fun anymore.
That is such a crucial part of a best of 7 series in the NBA. Either 2-2 or 3-1. This goes 3-1, Warriors are done. The way the Kings play defense, even then they barely pulled it off last night. Going down 3-1 or tying it 2-2 it makes such a
pivotal.
huge difference.
The Warriors' ability to win, I feel like the Warriors have a better ability about winning in Sacramento than the Kings have to win in Golden State. And so the fact is that now we're going back 2-2. Warriors got the momentum with an injured your main star when Domantas Sabonis has not looked very good in this series at
That's
all.
the thing is like this. That's how good De'Aaron Fox has been. They've been in the game just because of him. Like he hasn't had the support that he's had in the regular season with Sabonis and Monk and even Kevin Huerter, who usually drains like 4 or 5 threes for him. I mean, Fox has had to put up damn near 40 every game just for them to be in the game. That's hard to do against Golden State, who has 4 or 5 weapons that could kill you at any time.
Yeah, it's hard to do against any team. Golden State is definitely a beast of its own. I'm not sure if they're gonna go much farther in the playoffs though. This doesn't seem like a Warriors team of old, but I do think that throughout this series, experience will pay off for sure.
We'll round back here in a second to what's been going on, I guess, from an administrative or a league perspective as it relates to Draymond Green. But I want to lump that into what is also going on in the Lakers and Grizzlies series Obviously, we've all seen what the back and forth with LeBron and Dylan Brooks, and everything to go along with that. Dylan Brooks calling LeBron old and say, "Hey, come to me when he scores 40 points," and then Dylan Brooks disappears, and then Dylan Brooks goes, "Wait, you guys are making me out to be the villain here. I didn't try to be the villain. The media made me the villain. The fans made me the villain." And I have thought that was quite funny, because then all of a sudden the heat turns up and he's not able to, keep up with what he has been saying and putting that onto the court.
I don't want to be a hypocrite when it comes to my consistent take of I want competitive. I want no friends when it comes to the league. And that's the part that I like about what he's doing. I think Dylan Brooks is an absolute joke, but I like the challenge. I like that you're not trying to be friends with LeBron. You're not trying to kiss ass with one of the greatest players the league's ever seen. I like that you're talking shit. I love that part. But him doing it, you're not the guy. I think there's a difference between a Magic and a Bird doing it, because that guy that's talking shit could drop 50 on you any night. Isaiah Thomas and the whole Pistons against Jordan. These rivalries were real because both players were on the same level.
Yeah, we're super.
Dylan Brooks not even better than Lance Stevenson.
I do think the funny part is, come talk to me when he drops 40. It's like, okay, he's 37, and that's a good night for you.
Yeah.
Also,
I know,
him,
and I think he scored like 36 that night or something like that.
It's like, yeah, that's a win. Fuck you, LeBron.
But it's such a troll thing to say. Come to me when you drop 40, when Dylan Brooks has never scored 40 in his life. It's like, at least tell me you've scored 40 in one game,
see
man.
What his career high is. Dylan Brooks
15, 20
career high. Dylan Brooks' career high is 37. Yeah.
I mean, that's shocking to me. I didn't even know he's dropped 37.
Did it against your Portland Trailblazers.
Oh, damn. Shouldn't have said that.
So,
come on, Pete.
I also think that I think that it is quite silly, again, that, Dylan Brooks hasn't really been able to back up what he said and then starts blaming everyone else. It's not the best look. Just embrace it. You're fine. I do want to touch on a bit of, like, wishy-washiness, not necessarily hypocrisy from the league, but it does seem that players are being adjudicated differently within the...
It's not a consistent rule across the board.
It's not, because like what you had with Draymond Green and pulling and stomping on Domantas Sabonis gets the suspension. And then you had Dylan Brooks throwing, a fist to the ball sack of LeBron James, not suspended. He was kicked out. So, I mean, at least they did get that correct. Another one that was quite interesting was what was going on with Jason Tatum and Murray, DeJounte Murray from the Hawks.
DeJounte was a ref thing.
Yes, so was Jason Tatum. If you saw, there's one that is not getting so much attention, maybe a little bit on social media, which is that Tatum has a hard foul. What he does is he gets up. The referee tries to stop him from doing that. He throws the referee's hands away. You can't make contact with a referee at all. And nothing happened to him, and nothing has happened to him since. So, I mean, like, the same roughly, like, level of contact was made, different situations. DeJounte Murray goes up after the game and bumps into him. That is, I think, a fair suspension.
For sure.
But to have nothing happen to Tatum when he's kind of reacting to a hard foul or whatever, I don't know. It's not as if, like, you're in the middle of a scrum and then you somehow make the contact, because, like, I get that level of contact.
Yeah, for sure.
This was, like, the referee kind of gets in the way and he throws the hands aside. Doesn't necessarily, like, body the guy, but it was enough.
Intentional.
It was intentional enough, right?
Tatum should really thank DeJounte Murray then, because what happened was because I don't even remember that. That's basically been washed throughout the game, and then Murray pulls something at the end of the game that everyone saw, that now no one knows or thinks about what Tatum did.
Yeah.
So he should send him a bottle of whiskey or something.
Let me see if I can pull this up
Do it.
here. Jason.
Well, I said he send it. We can't make him
Do
do
it.
Lakers are up 5, 17 seconds left in overtime.
Are the Lakers going to win themselves a championship?
I don't know, man. It'd be pretty funny.
All right, so here's this clip. So Jason Tatum hit hard from behind, gets up, referee's here, throws referee aside.
Oh, that wasn't as bad as you made it seem.
Yeah, you
That's
made it
bad
seem like
enough.
he tossed him. I mean, you barely moved the ref's arm.
He's
Yeah, the ref's arm didn't
throwing
even move.
the hand like that. You can't do that to a referee.
It's not as bad as DeJounte
Yeah.
Murray.
I still think that that's the same level of contact.
It's not
the
the-
DeJounte
absolutely
Murray.
not the
Show
same
the
level of
DeJounte
contact.
Murray right now.
I agree with you that you shouldn't make contact with the ref. The DeJounte Murray one is not the same level as that one. I promise you that.
Spelling. Let me just.
I'll be the judge.
DeJounte Murray walked up to the ref and, like, bumped him. So it gave him a little... You see
Kind
that?
of barked in his ear a little bit.
Yeah, like he walked up to him like he's ready to fight him.
Yeah,
That's different.
That's different for sure. I agree.
It's different, but does it warrant at least some level of discipline?
I think there
on
should.
the
I
Jason
think there
Tatum
should have been
side?
more attention on the Tatum one. But again, like you said, the wishy-washy thing. You take Draymond, who was basically punished for every. It's the same way that like Bill Laimbeer would get punished for punching people 3 years ago. You know what I mean? Draymond basically got a suspension for everything he did leading up to today.
Right.
And then you have DeJounte Murray, you have Tatum, you have what happened in the Philadelphia-Brooklyn game, where Embiid kicked somebody in the nuts,
Right.
Harden punched somebody in the nuts. They got flagrants. There's no talks of suspension after that.
Right.
Yeah.
There's so much that happened in that game. People were fucking getting punched in the balls like nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting, though, because I think that John Morant had said it postgame after the Dylan Brooks punch to LeBron, where he was basically kind of preparing everyone for the Draymond Green effect. It was like, because I don't think that Dylan Brooks has curried any sort of favor. Like, I fully suspected that he was going, it was done to LeBron, it was done in the heat of this, like, battle, and maybe, like, by suspending Dylan Brooks that they think, oh, well, that could affect ratings or something like that.
Yeah, maybe.
None of this is coincidental here. But I
It's
fully
all
suspected
planned.
Dylan Brooks to get suspended there.
I don't know. I feel like even Memphis is getting tired of Dylan Brooks.
That's what I've heard. I think
It's
that,
like
I mean,
he's
that's,
making him out to be a bigger
there
joke.
are reports out there that says that people are getting tired of Dylan Brooks.
Because the thing, John Morant could talk shit and laugh on the bench, but he'll drop 43 and 13 assists. What's
Yeah.
Dylan Brooks going to do? He's going to piss off the best player on the other team and give you 2 points? Like, come on, man.
Not great. Also, with his new braids the way they are, he kind of looks like a dinosaur of some kind.
Must that, like,
Ask Goldblum.
get a bit of a headache?
It's Goldblum. When I
Well-
was in Mexico, I did ask the woman at one of the shops next to, where we got off the boat if she would braid my
You
hair.
should have gotten braids.
If it was long enough, and I was like, okay, how much? And Jarrett came up, and she was like, you are not doing that. We walked away.
You have enough of a mane.
You
coulda-
do.
And she definitely was
You
like,
coulda
oh,
done
yeah,
it
we
with your
can do
beard,
it.
too.
That's what I was going to say. The compromise should have been one down the
Just
center
one.
there.
That would have been
Well, Pete,
bad.
I'm sorry to tell you that you're making fun of Jordan for being down 3-1. You're now
I am
down
also
3-1.
down 3-1.
Because the Lakers, Memphis went to overtime, and it's over. Lakers won by 6.
Damn.
You idiot.
Well, I still got this 2-2. See, I get this
2-2.
new. Yeah. No, I get that with the Warriors in sack. So I get this new job, and then I all of a sudden think I can start gambling big boy money. I'm about to go down $100. So.
Oh, you so
Yahoo!
dumb. You so dumb, Pete.
Peter
Braxton.
gets rich, and it's easy.
Easy
You-
to lose. I was like, I want to adjust my spending.
Peter gets rich, and now he initiates bets. I'm more than happy to take them.
Braxton, lovely to have you.
Yeah, and Jordan, I thought you listened to our podcast. You don't even know the sign off.
I didn't know a lot happening in this.
There is,
show.
hey, it's pretty funny that he went back to season 1 though.
What did he say?
remember who you are and what you stand for. I mean, he was so far back. That's P1.
Yeah, that's true.
P1 to the
That's
10th
true.
degree.
Well, clear eyes.
Full hearts.
Can't lose.
Love you guys. That's what I used to say. Love you guys.
How come you don't say it anymore?
I love you guys.
The show's over.
It was
It's over. It doesn't count.